What's crack-a-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know so. And I just popped a pimple right before the video. I don't know why I did that. I hope it's not that noticeable. I hope. But we're talking safeties today, man. Safeties of the 2020 NFL draft. The top safeties. A lot of these, it's a weak safety class. To put it simply, it's a weak safety class. Honestly, a lot of these guys are interchangeable. Like when we get into the list, you're gonna see there's not much of a difference between the guy I have at 11 and the guy I have at 20. You know, they're kind of interchangeable in that regard. But before we get into the video, let's become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the video. It helps it get discovered. We just hit 4,000. We're doing good. Y'all doing good. We're having great conversations for the most part in the comment section. No videos for Saturday or Sunday this week. Super Bowl weekend, man. Y'all go enjoy yourselves. Go KC. What? But yeah, y'all enjoy yourselves, and I hope y'all have a safe Super Bowl weekend. And I hope we have a great game. Just gonna say that. As well as for videos next week, though. We got a 2020 NFL mock draft. We're doing 3 rounds. We're going to include the compensatory picks because I think there's like 5 or 6 at the end of round 3. And with the Senior Bowl being up, a lot has changed. So let's go ahead. Let's get a new one out. And then we're going to do more of the team like off seasons. I got some of those already prepared and ready to go. Y'all have been really liking that, except for the Raiders one, man. Raiders fans just hate them some Phillip Rivers. I don't blame them. But yeah, I got more of those. I'm gonna try to make an effort to get every team done. I'm gonna try, but we'll see. And then we have defensive interior rankings out next week for the draft, as well as the tight end rankings. And then I'm gonna bring out my new rankings for quarterbacks and running backs for the post Senior Bowl, because a lot has changed. Did I say that already? I feel like I said that already. But let's go ahead. Let's dive in. We're talking 11 through 20. And I wanted to include, I just want to mention Jordan Fuller. He's right now sitting at 21 on my list. And there's not a big difference between him and, honestly, number 15 my list. A lot of these guys, you can kind of shuffle them up. And I'll get into that a little more when I talk about Gilman and Reed. But Brian Cole, the second, man, this is a feel-good story. This guy was last chance U, goes to Mississippi State. Now he has a chance to play in the NFL. He doesn't have a lot of starting experience. He's a bit raw, and if anything, he's a good special teams hand to have. But I love the story. That's probably kind of, it might be the reason why I had to put him at 20. I had to put him on this list. And then we got Antwon Brooks out of Maryland. The guy sits at 213 right now. If he could put on more weight, honestly, he can play linebacker. He's better suited for linebacker. Speed's a big question with him. If he gets to go to the combine, that 40 time is going to be very, very key. But the guy, he's a thumper. He's an excellent blitzer. Wish he'd put on more weight. And then we got Geno Stone out of Iowa. Very, very smart kid. Very high football IQ. I mean, those guys at Iowa, they know their football. What can I say? But athletically, very limited. Kind of reminds me of, I guess, a less athletic Amari Hooker from Tennessee. Rookie out of Tennessee. He played at Iowa. So, yeah, there's a lot of similarities there. But I do like Geno Stone a lot. And then J.R. Reed from Georgia. Box safeties. They're a dime a dozen. That's why, like, I can guarantee you Gilman and Reed are going to be, like, in the top 10s of a lot of people's lists. In my opinion, box safeties are a dime a dozen. They're like run defenders when it comes to the defensive line. Like, you could get guys that are very good at that late in the draft. You don't have to invest early on those guys. Same thing with box safeties. It's kind of a role being, I don't want to say it's being kind of voided out in the NFL, but it's the NFL with linebackers, and we're seeing this with linebackers. They're valuing putting more athletic players on the field opposed to these guys that have athletic limitations. And that's the thing with Reed. I mean, when your coverage skills are lacking, I don't think, especially in today's NFL, a very pass-happy NFL, I don't think you're really gonna get a lot of suitors. And then Alohi Gilman, basically the same verse, or is it same verse, same as the first, or second verse, same as the first? There we go. That's how you say that. But his size, man, 5'11", he's under 200 pounds. I don't know how productive he'll be in run defense, but he's definitely not athletic enough in coverage. You saw that at Notre Dame. We got Kaliki Hudson. He's making a return. I had him in the linebackers, but in Senior Bowl, he didn't play linebacker. He played safety, which confuses me. I think part of that could be he's at 218. Honestly, if he could add like 5-10 pounds, he could make that transition. I think he will make that transition, but he's got very intriguing athleticism if he moves to linebacker. But probably gonna be maybe a 5th, 6th round pick. And then Jeremy Chin, this is where I think you see a uptick in the quality of prospect. With Chin out of Southern Illinois, man, he was a very interesting prospect to evaluate. I didn't really know about much about him headed into the Senior Bowl, but he was pretty impressive in drills. He was good in the game. At Southern Illinois, he played a variety of different roles. And from what I read, a lot of it is because of concerns with his speed. So they kind of put him in situations where that wouldn't be an issue. Now, I didn't really see those same concerns. Speed didn't look like a problem to me at the Senior Bowl. Like, for example, he was able to go go stride for stride with Courtney Davis at a Texas A&M, and by no means is he slow. He's not a slow receiver. But the guy, 6'3", 220, could be a linebacker in a sub package, kind of like how I saw someone make this comparison to Mark Barron when he entered the NFL. So I like that. I like that comp. That's a good comp there. And then Brandon Jones out of Texas, guy that man, just vulnerable in coverage. He's probably the top box safety only prospect I have here. He's very sound-tacular, very good in run defense, but like I said, he's severely lax in safety. You saw it against LSU, you saw it against Oklahoma, but his spirit, I mean, I don't think there's going to be a problem when he's matched up against tight ends, but man, if he gets put on a receiver, that's won't end well. I'm just going to say that. Jalen Hawkins out of Cal. This is a guy I don't think a lot of people are putting on their list. This is actually one of my favorite prospects in the draft. I hope he gets an invite to the combine. Because there's a lot of questions about his speed, but I think he's very underrated. He's one of my sleepers in this draft. He allowed a passer rating under 60 this year. He was just dominant in coverage. He was a ball hawk. He has a ton of experience on special teams. And I mean, honestly, just that experience alone will help him make a roster. And that's why I have him so highly. I just think a lot of people are sleeping on him. Then you got Myles Dorn out of North Carolina. He's been a very good all-around safety in terms of run defense, coverage. He was a good tackler. Ideally, he'll be in that deep half at safety. He'll be a deep half defender, but his aggression sometimes gets the best of him. It gets him in trouble. Kind of reminds me when Marcus Williams, who I loved, by the way. So this guy, you can put Dorn as a sleeper candidate as well, because I loved Marcus Williams coming out of Utah. But sometimes he just doesn't read the play. He doesn't read the pass correctly. He doesn't read the play correctly. He gets himself in trouble. And yeah, man. Sometimes like I said, aggression, man. He bites when he ain't supposed to be biting. Bad dog. Let's go to 10 through 1. We're talking Julian Black, man, a guy that I wasn't high on at the beginning of the year. And I've started to come around to it just because he's a very raw prospect. He's a very good athlete, but you could tell his inexperience. The guy just converted from corner. He played corner last year, and he actually played it pretty bad. He gave up over 700 yards last year. but he converted to safety so they could better use his athleticism. Because you know what? You could teach technique, you can't teach athleticism necessarily. And it worked out well. I still consider him a developmental prospect at this point. I think it's best to leave him covering the deep half as well. His size, with his size, he could eventually cover the slot, but with his checkered history in 2018 of covering wide receivers, I would still be hesitant at that. Just go, if you want to be turned off on this guy, just go watch the USC game. Easy as that. And I mean, we're talking these are probably like we're talking maybe fifth round on this guy, and where he's supposed to be top 10 in the position. I'm telling you, it's not a very deep position. Jalen Elliott, a guy that played very well at the Senior Bowl. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure he has the speed, I should say, to keep up with the receivers downfield. But if you place him in the slot, because that's the thing, man. If some guy in the slot goes vertical on him, and he has no help, oh man, that's a problem. So I'm a little hesitant with him being in the slot as well. But he was dominant one-on-ones against tight ends the Senior Bowl. I think keeping him in the back end would be wise. Give him a little space, because it's not like he's slow. It's just he's not quick. He doesn't have acceleration, I should say. He can't really get up to his top speed very fast. So having him play off a bit, you know, that'll kind of help him. And then I got, I'm gonna nail this name. I know it. Hamza Nasir-Il-Din. Nasir-Il-Din. I think I got that right. I'm pretty sure I did. Out of Florida State, this guy, man, ooh, I could see him moving to linebacker. He's at 220. He could throw on a couple more pounds. 6'4". He has plenty of room to fill. If you notice, he's actually pretty skinny for his size. And that's why I'm going to say he'll probably end up as linebacker. He's always been a sure tackler there at Florida State, but this year became a much better playmaker, much better ball hawk. So, I mean, he can stay at safety if they really want him to. Kayvon Wallace out of Clemson. This is a guy that I had late day 3, kind of in the middle of the year. I've kind of come around to him because I think he can be a great slot corner in the NFL. He's designated as a safety, so that's why he's here at safety. But honestly, light him up on the inside in the nickel or in dime packages, and it should help with his lack of speed, you know, as long as you got help in the back end for him. And then Terrell Burgess out of Utah, another Utah safety here. Doesn't have much versatility at safety in regards to coverage. He only played in a cover 2 his whole career, and he only has one season as a starter, but his build suggests he can play the slot. He can be actually a slot only type of guy in the NFL because he's 6 foot, he's just under 200 pounds. However, he's been wonderful at both man and zone coverage. I mean, especially he put that on, I think, display at the Senior Bowl as well. That was just, and honestly, if you're that versatile, like, and I talked about he's not versatile as a safety, but in a slot corner, for me, his stock goes way up. Just because when you can do man and zone, when you can do those two things, you're looking good. You're looking good. You're not a Sane Bassie. You know what I'm saying? Gosh, I loved him. Broke my heart at the Senior Bowl. Kyle Duggar, man, making a huge leap. Huge leap. I knew this guy was going to be a quality athlete. 6'2", 220, but he was incredible in practices, and that carried to the game as well. Honestly, I think the one time I really saw him get beat, it wasn't even by a receiver. It was by Harrison Bryant, the tight end out of Florida Atlantic, which I think that just says way more about Harrison Bryant than Duggar, because he was very solid. He had this crazy play, cause they lined him up kind of in a box roll for the majority of the game, but he came up on the flats real quick on Troutman out of Dayton and just walloped him. He was like, no first down today, not today. But he'll be a day 2 selection, guaranteed. I think he helped his stock a ton. Antoine Winfield Jr. out of Minnesota. Athleticism. athleticism. The guy is quick. He's aggressive. Sometimes you could say his aggression gets the best of him. But the thing is, the guy is so athletic, he can make up for his mistakes. He can make up for being faked out. I love it. I forgot against who, right? So the running back was running a wheel route, and he kind of bit on the flat. But he had enough like speed. He turned his hips so quick, caught up to the ball, and picked it. Caught up to the... It's not even like he caught up to the receiver or caught up to the running back. Caught up to where the ball was at. Wild. The guy's just an incredible athlete. He's just got a huge wow factor. I could definitely see him as a second rounder. And then Xavier McKinney out of Alabama, guy that I have come around to again. I was a little high. Okay, that's not true. I thought he was a day two pick. And then he wasn't that great in coverage this year. But overall, man, he's probably the safest player in this draft, because it's not like his coverage, like in coverage, he took like a step back. It wasn't even that big of a deal, you know? So, I mean, he's a superb run defender. It's good in coverage. And I mean, yeah, like in a safety group that's kind of scary, in a weak safety group, this guy, I think he definitely has the highest floor, but he doesn't have the best ceiling. Just saying, compared to these other two I'm about to list right now. Ashton Davis, man, I knew, former track star. We all knew he was fast, and guess what? He was fast. He's rangy. He closes those windows. Quarterback think he has a window? Shut. Not today, quarterback. That's Ashton Davis. I love him. He was super sticky on one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl. He's a first-rounder in my eyes. He's a late first-rounder. And then Grant Delpit at LSU. No surprise here. He's missed a third of his tackles this season. A lot of people contribute that to he had a few injuries this year he tried to play through. One was a shoulder. I can't remember what the other one was. But if you go back to 2018, he missed half of his tackles. So it's not, there is a tackling problem there to some degree. But I mean, in coverage, he's second to none almost on this list. I mean, Winfield comes close. So I could say Davis too, but I think Winfield's just, I'm really sweet on Winfield. But the guy, he can cover, like I said, coverage, versatility, slot. He could line up in the box. He can be in the deep half, single high. He could be on the outside. Like, his coverage is ridiculous. And honestly, if tackling is really going to be argue point for you, if that's really going to be a make or break, take some solace in, you didn't miss a tackle at all during the playoffs. Not against Oklahoma, not against Clemson. You got better. But like I said, that's something you can get better at. You know, I value more so the coverage over the tackling. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. Much appreciate, much obliged. Remember, no videos this week. Start back up again Monday. Strong with the mock draft, and it's after the Super Bowl. We'll finally know the complete order of the NFL draft. I'm excited. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.